Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Patriot League. I'm Ray Crawford, and in a few moments, we'll talk football. But let's begin on the court where Boston University is having a very uncharacteristic start to their season. Here to talk Terriers, the color analyst for BU Hoops, Brian Maurer. And Brian, it's not as bad as the 0-5 start back in 2012, but with just one win in their first 5 games this year, where do you see the need for the most improvement to get this season going?
Yeah, it's been an unlikely start, and I think it's been disappointing for the team so far to get going just because of, some of the competition they've played. But the defensive end is where they've struggled, even against UMass Lowell, a smaller team, against UNH, a smaller team, to allow these teams to shoot close to 50% from the field. I think that's where they need the most improvement. And not to mention, I think that's where, at this moment in time, they thought they would be better than they were right now. And obviously, there's still a lot of season to go, and that's what they're looking forward to. But at this point early on, I think that's where they thought they would be better at the defensive end. And other teams have exposed the weakness, especially in the paint.
Well, we knew with the departure of DJ Irving and Maurice Watson Jr., it would be tough. But Cedric Hankerson is showing us something. How good can he be?
Well, that's just the fun part, is we're not exactly sure. We're excited to see where he keeps going. I mean, as a sophomore he's averaging now more than 16 points of what he did last year coming off the bench in that starting point guard role as well, which has been the biggest thing for me to watch him is the ball handling skills. He's now being the primary ball handler, and he's still averaging over 20 points a game, one of the top 25 in the country in scoring right now as well. He's done it. The best thing that he's been able to do is get inside. He's been able to get to the free throw line. He's averaging close to 10 free throw attempts, and the Terriers, they've needed that kind of bullnose guard, the guy that when everything is falling apart, you have one guy who can get cheap points, go to the free throw line, and really stop any kind of run. And that's the exciting part for the Terriers, to see how good he is. But at the same time, if the Terriers want to win, you have to see his numbers kind of go down and see more of a balanced scoring. Last year, the recipe for success was 4 or 5 players in double figures. And, through the course of the first 5 games, it's really only happened one time, and that was in the win against Norfolk State.
I believe Boston had a better winning percentage actually on the road than at home last year. But when you're struggling like this team is this year, you hope playing on your home floor can help push you through some tough times. How important are these next 2 home games for them?
Well, I think it's partly learning. I mean, you look at the way the season started. They lost technically a road game to Northeastern. They followed that up with a win against Norfolk State. Now the Terriers lost their home opener against UMass Lowell. Again, it's learning and moving on as well. And I think that's the biggest key for them, is to be able to forget. You talk about shooters and say, just keep shooting. For this BU team, it's just keep playing. Forget the last game. Obviously, it wasn't the way they wanted to end the first home game of the season, but you've got 2 more against Binghamton and St. Peter's, both games that are certainly winnable games in a lot of people's eyes. So forget the pressure, forget the idea of you have to win, and just play the way they're capable of, and I think that'll be indicative of the score.
Oh, we'll all be watching both of those games on the Patriot League Network. Brian, thanks for the time. Look forward to seeing BU turn things around here real soon.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate the time.
In other news in the Patriot League this week, Army's Kyle Wilson was named the Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season. The Black Knights' leading scorer is also 14th in the nation at 21 points per game. With his help, Army jumped out to their best start since 1976. And with the help of the league's Offensive Player of the Year, quarterback Mike Niebrick led Fordham to their FCS playoff first-round win over Sacred Heart last Saturday, throwing for 423 yards and 4 touchdowns. Next up, the Rams face top seed New Hampshire in round 2 on Saturday. That's going to do it for now, but be sure to tune in next week as we go inside the Patriot League. I'm Ray Crawford. Thanks for watching.